Shannon's, it's not the same.
I did once in Vermont where I was growing up, and I thought, wait a minute, it's one run, it's cold, it's icy, and I can barely see. I'm not doing this again. There's no reason to do this.
And I'd
again.
rather be sitting at the bottom.
Exactly.
Yeah, we sat and had dinner and drinks and let the kids.
You guys are all, y'all are live.
Okay. I'm ready to go.
Scott, you want to call it to order?
Good morning. This is the Beach Preservation Ad Hoc Committee. Want to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that the press and the public have been duly notified of this meeting in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. I think today we're going to review some submittals for the second opinion for the beach plan. And I know, Douglas, do you want to give us a kickoff and maybe summarize what we've received so far?
Yes. As you will recall, we requested qualifications, I think from about 10, 12 different firms that we had vetted a bit prior to requesting those qualifications. We've received 4 back. I think each of the 4 has a depth of experience and I think would do a good job. But I wanted to go through those 4 with this group, see if you all could, kind of the next steps from here is we would want a prioritization from this group, and then we will reach out to the kind of top respondents, see if we can come negotiate a fair price for the project. If not, we would then go to the second most qualified. So I was hoping we could just kind of get general thoughts from the group about who your preference would be on each of the 4, and a hierarchy of who you'd want to negotiate with first.
So I'll just jump in. I was a fan of the one in Jacksonville, Foth Olson. And I hadn't rated them beyond a second, third, and fourth, but I'll try to.
I'll
go ahead.
agree
Tim,
with
yours is the
Cindy.
most thorough.
I had Olson, the Roth Olson Group, number 1. Then I had the Coastal Protection Engineering, number 2. And then H&M, 3. And then Taylor Agency, number 4. The Olson Group, they kind of have done what we need to have done with our beach, with beach inlet management and renourishment. Yeah, they seem to come in under budget, but they utilize a lot of people they bring in groups to get it done quick and under budget. And they've done the Hilton Head project, where they're in the process of. So that might not be a bad place to start if they can transfer that group up here to Charleston. It might save some money. That was just my thoughts on that. But I think they're all very good. I don't think you can go wrong with really any of them. But that's how they rated out for me.
Yeah, I think I would echo what Tim and Cindy have said. Foth Olson kind of floated to the top for me, and when I looked, I think again that I would agree they're all very, very capable firms. What stood out for me was the breadth and the depth and the qualifications and the experience with the Hilton Head and Bald Head Island and other. Not only do they have up and down the coast experience, but they have regional experience that I think would be very applicable to what we're trying to accomplish here. As well as, I think I read where they have approximately a staff of, I don't know, it was 65 or so folks. They seem like a larger firm that can draw upon qualifications, if we're looking maybe down the road at, even options to help manage our beach going forward, or even just for other purposes. They seem to be able to do, they're a full-service provider, I guess is the way I would put it. Plus, the engineering qualifications depth was quite impressive. They seem to have a very deep, internationally recognized staff of qualified personnel that could manage multiple projects at the same time. And it looks like they've also been, managing large budgets and on budgets as well. So that would have been my first choice. I think the others, one of them looked like they were more environmental oriented and very, so they were smaller organizations. I think CPE looked good as well. But again, Foth to me just sort of stood out.
Dan,
I would
Katie?
agree with it as it's called out. And, you know, and thank you, because the whole goal here was to get a second opinion from somebody that was reputable, just to make sure we're all on the right page. The only thing that's missing is the price points, and I don't know if there's going to be
Right.
such a huge difference between them. It's kind of an odd scenario where you know, we're trying to decide who we like, but we don't have prices, and as long as they're generally the same, it's not really going to matter. And I don't know how you do a comparison without having a comparison. So,
Yeah, I mean,
getting-
professional services generally are kind of that way.
Andrew, do you want to chime in, or?
Yeah, I was going to speak to I agree with a lot of folks about the Foth Olson folks. And the thing that stood out to me was the fact that they were the only ones who offered up an engineer with a license in the state of South Carolina. And by having that engineering license, professional engineering license in the state, speaks to the fact that they've been tested and vetted by the state to understand the code of the state of South Carolina. And with the specialty of working in the Hilton area, they're familiar with our coastal environment closer than any other firm based off the work they presented to us. That's all I was going to add. And I think that was what was delineated them from the other organizations.
I mean, at this point, is it worthwhile asking a few of them, or I don't know, there's only 4 of them for a bid, but I guess where I am too is, I probably shouldn't say this in public here, but if it's a few bucks either way, I think we should go with try to figure out a way to go with the most qualified firm that we feel would be most capable of doing the job. I look at this as if we're faced with down the road of investing, whether it's tens of millions or hundreds of millions over the next several decades, we ought to get this second opinion right. And I'd rather not, 100 sandbags cost $50,000 these days. So I just think we ought to make the investment and make sure we get a really solid second opinion here.
So on the pricing, we did a little bit of legwork prior to putting this out, just kind of on what to expect. And we think that the pricing should be around 30,000-ish, and City Council has been kind of presented with this, as a potential expense, and agreed that it was a worthwhile expense. So generally, what we would do is go back, say, what is the cost of the project for your firm? If it's within that realm, kind of what we expected, we would present it to council and not expect any issue. If pricing starts to come back and it's way up beyond what we had expected, we then would kind of have a fallback of discussing whether we wanted to just proceed at the higher than expected price, or then start going down to the next qualified and get pricing from them. So that would be the.
Quick question on that, Douglas. So you gave these folks the parameters, what are budgetary, and they've responded to it. So our expectation would be that they should stand.
They don't know the budget. That
Unless
budget.
they watched our.
Unless they
council
watch
meeting.
meetings.
or this one.
Yeah.
I happen to have talked to a couple of them just to kind of create, to get a
An
background,
expectation.
an expectation to be able to present to council of what the budget should be. So I think they know kind of loosely, or they've provided us information that informed us on the budget. So I think they should be kind of close to what we were expecting, but you never really know until they submit a price back. And that, it is a little bit backwards, Dan, to your point in terms of, but it's just how we select professional service providers. You kind of choose the one you want first, and then try to find out if you can agree on a price second. Unlike
Have we
construction,
spoken
which is the
to
other.
all these people?
I have spoken to 2 of these. There's been an email exchange with at least all of them. I've talked in person to 2 of them, and I do know for what it's worth that Stephen feels, Stephen has worked closely with the top 2 that have been identified by Tim, feels very confident that they would do a great job. Good, good experience, recommended by them. So I think, again, kind of has been echoed, I think all of them could do a great job. But I do happen to know those two are highly regarded in the field.
Cindy, you had brought up about conflicts, or is there anybody that has
Tim,
any that you
So
know?
two things. One, and that is great information, and thank you. Just, time is important as we're moving forward, so I personally would rely on how you normally do things, but I would feel more comfortable if we had at least two bids going out at the same, so that, one, people know we are actually bidding this and it's not, or we're asking for it, but two, also, I'm concerned that how long will it be, do you think we get a price estimate? I don't want it to be a price estimate, then a conversation, then a price estimate, that's all that I'm,
So it's not bidding. I
okay.
mean, specifically, we don't
Yes, we just ask. Okay.
bid professional services, but I think it'll be quick. I mean, I think we're really now looking, they've done all the work, they know what we're asking, they've responded. It's gonna be a one-page with a price. So I would expect that to be back within a matter of a few days.
Could we
They
get
already
that to?
have, they already
Okay,
have,
that's good news.
they have the scope of work that we are asking.
Yes, yeah.
So this is, they're not.
This is,
they're
they've
not
done
gonna
everything
be-
but tell us the price. So
They're
that-
not gonna be like, surprised when they see what we want.
that's correct. Yeah, this is based on that scope, so.
Well, is CPE, they've mentioned in their handout that they are working with some front beach owners right now.
Yeah.
So is that a conflict, or?
I don't think it is necessarily. I mean, they listed it as a strength of having.
They've already done some research.
They've done some research. Unless there's some, movement afoot that I'm unaware of that could make it a conflict, I don't think it would be. Again, I mean, they've seen that analysis as a benefit.
Right, they put it right up front.
Yeah,
So unless Katie has a different opinion, it looks like everybody's in agreement on where to start.
yeah,
Yeah, I would say go for it and get a number.
okay.
With the idea, right, of if we can move it forward is great. If
Yeah.
we run into any conflict that regards time, readjusting, that's all.
Yeah, if there is I think I'll know if there's kind of a negotiating problem if there's a price problem, I think I'll know that.
Okay.
by
We've got a
next
meeting
And then
next
also,
Tuesday.
Is there a
Do we need to?
possibility of a timing, like, if, I'm assuming that because they've all given us this information and they seem to want the job, that we're not gonna hear back that, oh, well, we can get to this 5 years from now. If-
Yes, I think that is made evident that time is of the essence.
So that
And
would be my
we
other, my
have,
only other
we did
fear.
specifically tell them that we're not expecting any kind of, significant data gathering that's not readily available. So we intentionally kind of made the scope a quick, the information is here. You don't have to go out and start gathering information. So I think that they would be clear that it would be a quick turnaround would be our expectation.
And that was with the caveat, clearly, if they felt they didn't have some data, they'd come back
Yeah.
and tell us.
Yeah.
Again, that's the second opinion.
That's correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, so it could be, part of their second opinion is you have a hole in your information.
In your information.
And you need to go get it.
Yep, that's right.
But they wouldn't fill that
Not
goal as
first.
part of this work. They would tell us we have a hole, and then there would be a second phase.
Is there any expectation that this group would be carried on to the next, replace the current beach management?
It's not an expectation of that. I mean, we routinely ask for multiple, we request bids on that type of work. So it could be that, it becomes more competitive in the future than it has been
But they
previously.
wouldn't be necessarily replacing
No,
Stevens.
no,
I'm sure they see it as a bit of an interview process.
yeah.
I mean,
Good people are, so
right.
see, right.
Okay, great.
You got
So,
what you-
yep,
what you need?
I think I have what I need. Could we, I think Tim went down the list a little bit. I think everybody seemed clear that Foth was first. Does the group feel comfortable with a second, just in case the first doesn't work out? Or would you all rather, if things can't be negotiated with Foth, come back, reconvene and talk about your second choice? We could do it either way. Or,
I guess it'd be the cost of it would.
yeah, that's,
drive it
if
a
it,
little bit.
if it falls apart, it's because Foth is too expensive and we don't,
Yeah, I guess
Wait, can we get prices from two?
we shouldn't really. We're supposed to negotiate as far as we can with the first. If we just can't come to terms, we then go to the second.
I guess what I'd like to identify is what's the kicker to say that somebody's not, when does the cost become a factor for us? And at what point are we willing to go to the number two? If it's, 31,000 or 28,000 or whatever, I don't want to, to me, there was a bit of a swath between the first and the second, but that's just my perception. Maybe I'm.
Well, let's
Maybe we
just
just wait then.
let's just wait, I
Okay.
think. Based on that, we'll just wait on it.
I mean, we've got
We'll
the
go-
op-
If
we
we
got
can't
the
get
option.
prices from
Yeah.
two, then.
Yeah,
there's
what
no
is,
point
exactly,
anyway.
exactly.
And I think if one doesn't fall and two has the neighbors, that we might need to flesh that out for a moment too, if there is a conflict. So I
Okay.
think one is a great place to start.
Okay, and we should be able to do that. I think we'll be able to do that pretty quickly.
And if we need to convene quickly, we could do that, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Or, Okay.
Right?
Andrew,
Everybody's
anything?
around next week generally, people in case? Okay.
What's that?
You good with that, Andrew?
What's that again? What was the last bit you said, Douglas?
Are you okay with that? So the kind of path forward is
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm good with the plan as is, and then
Okay.
if we need to reconvene, we reconvene to evaluate candidates after that.
Okay. I think that's good.
Okay. Motion to adjourn? All in favor? Everybody, thank you.
I guess.
Let it be known this group can make a decision and move forward.
Look at that, right? I mean,
Are we off the record? No.
Well, then it has to be
Everybody-
known. I mean,
It's now known.
it's now known.
yeah. Thank you,
I didn't even get to open my water tower.